Let's continue our live team coverage now with Dennis Owens live in Philly. Hey, Dennis.
Hey, Alicia, imagine throwing a party for upwards of 2 million people. Sure, you've planned it for months, but the guests are now arriving. It is real, it is here, and you're hoping you're ready.
Let's see the good news first. Major arteries through the area looking very nice.
The warning signs are up on the turnpike all the way back to the mid-state. Francis is coming. The guest of honor hasn't arrived, but the party's already started. Call it Pope-Adelphia for the next few days. The banners are flying, the t-shirts are selling, the porta potties are waiting. The flock will soon be flocking.
As far as what people can expect, they can expect to see a lot of other people. It's going to be crowded, and so you need to be patient. It may take a little time to get through magnetometers and things like that.
When I heard the National Park Service was looking for help, I said, I gotta go, he's my people.
The Pope will arrive in the morning. Dennis Owens is inside that security zone. Dennis, I can only imagine the level of security where you are right now.
Imagine indeed. You know, I came to you from almost this same exact spot last night in front of Philadelphia City Hall, but there is one major difference. Take a look at these steel cages erected all over the city. There's an army of law enforcement and a phalanx of detours. You can get here from there, but it won't be easy. Pedestrian priests and police patrols taking casual strolls on the busiest streets in Philly that are now locked down.
Come across now.
National Guard on some corners, concrete barriers on others, law enforcement everywhere.
It's very eerie, but it's really neat to be here and walk on the streets of Broad Street. We're walking on Spring Garden, no cars anywhere, and all in anticipation of the Pope.
Lori and Amy are Bishop McDevitt graduates who now live in the area. The Pope will be a few blocks from Amy's house Sunday. Police have been in touch.
They did just tell me last night that I was not allowed on my balcony, and I asked if that was for real.
How can they keep you off your balcony?
Well, they said if you have a red dot on you, you might feel a little differently about that.
Sections of the city have literally been walled off, or more accurately, fenced off. Yesterday, we could just walk down the street to the convention center, which is where that arch is across. But as you can see, no go today. All traffic is steered down to those checkpoints with metal detectors.
Chris Davis joins us live from Philly. Chris.
Val, parishioners are hoping it leads to a little extra attention from Pope Francis when he gets here, and given the way it's going, he might not have much of a choice.
Welcome, welcome.
There are a lot of lines in Philly these days.
Hey, how you doing?
But this one is unique.
Yeah, just keep going.
This line takes a lot of supplies.
I understand we bought out every black Sharpie at Staples.
Did we all get ribbons?
This line is for Joe Winoski's prayer.
You can hope they're going to be viewed by the big guy and answered.
It's for everyone's prayers.
For Helen, health and peace.
Hundreds of thousands of them, if not more.
We're doing upwards of 20,000 strips a day.
Pope Francis, as we told you, arrives in Philadelphia tomorrow, and when he is here, he will stay at a local seminary with the seminarians, and one of the lucky ones is a mid-state seminarian that our Amanda St. Hilaire caught up with. She joins us now as our team coverage continues. Hey, Amanda.
Hi there, Dennis. Well, imagine someone coming up to you and saying, hey, Pope Francis is going to stay at your house. That's pretty much happened with the seminarians staying at St. Charles Borromeo Seminary in Philadelphia. These are young men studying for the priesthood. So one of them from Lancaster County talked to us, and he says the preparations are about a lot more than security.
The world meeting of families isn't just about parents with kids. Everywhere you look, nuns and priests are eagerly awaiting the arrival of Pope Francis. So are the young men studying to be priests.
I think a lot of times people expect there to be a lightning bolt or like that flash instance where you realize this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. But it's more like, a yearning or that something's missing inside and like a search for what that is.
The Pope has just landed in Philadelphia. There he is in his Fiat, making his way to the Cathedral Basilica of Saints Peter and Paul, where he will deliver a Mass this morning, scheduled to start around 10:30.
There's no doubt in my mind sales of Fiat are going to go up after this.
There actually was a story about that the sales are going up because of this coverage in the Fiat.
I feel like I want to run out and get one out just to see him in this all the time.
Something interesting that I just read, when the Pope landed there in Philly, there was a high school band playing.
Yes.
They played the Rocky theme.
Love it. We are about to bring you 30 minutes commercial-free leading up to the Pope's first homily in Pennsylvania. We are covering the Pope's Philadelphia stop from all angles. We are going to begin our live team coverage. We have Dennis Owens and Janelle Knight. We're going to start with Dennis. Hello, Dennis Owens.
Good morning, Alicia, and applause went up here at the Convention Center. It has been the nerve center for the World Meeting of Families, the real reason the Pope decided to come here some 15, 16, 17 months ago to address the World Meeting of Families. Applause went up. We have behind us monitors showing Pope Francis every step of the way. The pictures will be beamed to jumbotrons throughout the city. The Francis festivities have begun. This has been on the drawing board for months and months and months, and now it is finally here. It's the first papal visit to Philadelphia since John Paul II came in October of 1979, and it has been a whirlwind trip for this Pope, and that will continue in the Commonwealth. He's got a busy day planned. You alluded to some of it. He is on his way to the Basilica just a couple of blocks from here. He will say Mass. That Mass is closed to the public. There will be a lot of clergy in that Mass. It's ticket only.
Janelle Knight, she is there live this morning to continue our team coverage. Good morning, Janelle.
Good morning, James and Alicia. Well, we are on the Ben Franklin Parkway amongst thousands of people who are waiting to see Pope Francis. As you mentioned, we're outside of the cathedral. That service is supposed to start at 10:30, but as we saw, the Pope just left the airport. Now, he probably can get to this area pretty fast because traffic has been stopped just for him. But people outside just want to get a glimpse of him, a photo, something. This crowd has been very excited. They've been singing, they've been praying, they've been cheering for the state police that have been passing by. They're just anxious now to get to see the Pope. Now, as you mentioned, this is a private Mass. About 1,600 people got tickets to enjoy Mass with the Pope, but there's going to be lots of other festivities to do later on today. People who are here had to go through tight security. They arrived early, did a lot of waiting, but it's all worth it, even if it is just to see the Pope for 3 seconds in a Fiat.
We're seeing now the entrance of the bishops and the Holy Father into the Basilica of Saints Peter and Paul. This is the entrance rite, and it's accompanied by the hymn which is most familiar to so many Catholics, the Hail Holy Queen. Today they're celebrating a Mass, which is a votive Mass, in honor of Our Lady, Mother of the Church. I anticipate that he will bless us with the Book of the Gospels, which is a typical action of the Holy Father in special ceremonies. After this, he will deliver the homily and proclaim and preach his interpretation of the Word of God, which we have just heard, and give his words of encouragement. I have already been proven wrong. The Holy Father is going right to the homily, and here he is.
Sobre la historia de esta hermosa catedral, la historia que hay detrás de sus altos muros y ventanas. Me gusta pensar, sin embargo, que la historia de la Iglesia en esta ciudad y en este estado es realmente una historia que no trata solo de la construcción de muros.
You'll be back with us tomorrow afternoon
Very happy to.
We show the Pope's next Mass. We'll be back live with extended coverage at 3:45 tomorrow, and of course we'll be showing the events of today on our newscast coming up this evening. Pope Francis is on the streets of Philadelphia.
We have been following Francis since the Pontiff arrived right here on U.S. soil in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday, and now he prepares for his final Mass here in the United States.
We are covering the Pope's Philadelphia stop from all angles. Dennis Owens and Chris Davis are both here. We're going to begin with Dennis, who's anchoring our coverage from Philadelphia. Hello, Dennis.
Well, good afternoon, guys. And if you thought the Pope was going to coast through his final day of a grueling trip, you thought wrong. The Pope was making news as he fell out of bed this morning, early this morning. He met with victims of child sexual abuse of the clergy and of the church. Many victims had complained that Francis was ignoring them. He did not. Today he met with 3 women and 2 men for about a half of an hour and prayed with them. He then immediately went in and spoke to bishops, and he said of that sexual abuse that he felt shame that priests would harm the innocent.
Father Brahmer, from time to time you'll come in and interpret for us.
Very good.
Let's take a listen.
And so prepare ourselves to celebrate the sacred mysteries. I confess
Now we prepare to hear the Holy Father. We've been anticipating what he's going to say. Let's see if any of us are right.
Hoy la palabra de Dios nos sorprende con un lenguaje alegórico fuerte que nos hace pensar. Un lenguaje alegórico que nos desafía, pero también estimula nuestro entusiasmo.
The Mass just ended. People are just now starting to file out. We'll take a look out here. You can see the massive crowds of people who are coming out. What was most striking to us, I think, was the difference between when the Pope came by and people were screaming and people were loud and there was just a lot of commotion. And then as soon as the Mass started, everyone was quiet.
Peace be with you.
His final day in the U.S. and the biggest event yet. You just saw it live here on ABC 27. 1 million strong attending Mass on the Benjamin Franklin Parkway in Philadelphia. The Pope's capstone event before heading back home to Rome.
Yeah, Mass just wrapped up, and from what we've heard in just a few minutes that people have been walking by, is that this was an incredible experience.
Dennis Owens has been leading our coverage in Philadelphia all week. Dennis, what a week it has been.
Indeed, and you're going to have to fight me to go cover it in Dublin, by the way. I think we're going to have lots of folks interested in doing that. It has been a terrific week. Of course, Pope Francis comes with a message of peace and love and inclusion. But don't let that fool you. He also gave major policy speeches everywhere he went, and every day he was here, including today. He tackled the topic of child abuse or sexual child abuse by the clergy. This Pope has not shied away from tough topics. His comments today in his homily, very basic message to families. Talk nice to one another. Do you shout? Show your love through the way you talk to one another. Very basic message, very simple message, but I can tell you as a father of 3 with a 4-year-old, not such an easy message to follow. It's been a great week, an historic week here in Philadelphia, and we've enjoyed bringing it to you. That's the story from Philly. Let's send it back to you.